Welcome to Uncompromised, the podcast about regenerative agriculture and how we can uncompromise our food. I'm Kyle, and I'm here with Kevin Mullinex, who is a partner in the business and a longtime family friend. We are normally joined by my dad, Scott, who is not with us today because he is on a vacation in Maryland. He's at a lake house, and he's taken some much needed time off.
Yeah.
Which is kind of one thing I want to talk about today is, can farmers take time off? I don't know, it's kind of a loaded question, I guess, but what are your initial thoughts on that?
I mean, yes, farmers can take time off. It depends on the type of operation you're running. Depends on the time of year, not type of year. But it also depends on who you have to help out. So for us, having multiple different types of livestock and then chestnuts, Christmas trees, mowing operation, and everything else that's going on, you just have to have somebody who is willing and able to pick up the slack. If you don't have that, then yeah, you're kind of just SOL.
Yeah, because farming is not like a regular 9-to-5 job where you can just kind of pause your work and leave it on hold temporarily and then come back to it. It's, there's a lot of daily chores that have to get done, animals that need to be fed, chickens need to be moved, eggs need to be collected, cows need their milking.
Right.
We, of course, don't have any cows yet, but, you get the idea.
Well, even to that point, it's not even vacation. Can a farmer take a day off?
Right. So logistically, there's a lot to unpack there. So let's start with that. How do you take time off as a farmer? Like, what are the logistics involved?
For me, to say go down to Arizona or go out to Washington to see family, it's working with your mom and dad to make sure that our schedules don't conflict, making sure that I have enough feed on hand and supplies on hand, that it's over here and readily accessible for them, and just setting up your parents to make sure it's as easy as possible for them.
Yeah.
But then that's, added workload for them to take on as well, and they're already slammed. For your parents, we bring in our good family friend Aubrey, who watches the house, takes care of all the animals that are quote unquote pets here at the farm, and that just makes life supremely easy.
Okay, but how do you actually do that? I mean, if you're going to rely on outside help to take care of all those daily chores while you're gone, how do you go about doing that? That person doesn't necessarily know what to do, how to do it.
If you don't have that person, you're going to have to bring in someone and train them beforehand. But we're in a situation where everyone here knows everyone else's job. So any kind of resilient farm, there's overlap, because there has to be. Because no different than when I went out for surgery for 3 months this year. That's 3 months that I wasn't able to use my right hand at all. Your dad backfilled in for me and took over my daily chores. Thank you, Tom. You are way too warm.
That's just going to bother me.
Yes. And my leg is now soaked.
My mom and dad are both gone at the lake house right now.
Right. And
their solution, to use them as an example, you and I are the ones that would normally fill in there because we're the next person. I mean, we already do a lot of daily farm chores. You in particular, I'm kind of grouping me into you, but I'm also pretty familiar with a lot of the stuff that we do here. So you're kind of like the next of kin in that regard, and so you are the one who's filling in for them while they're gone.
So I would say this. In order to be successful for us, it's the next man up mentality. It's, okay, lead guy's out, next man up. Okay, he's out, next man up. And the more people you have to be that next man up, the more resilient you are.
There is something called an SOP, which is a standard operating procedure, which is what you have to have in place. You can't just set up a carousel of temporary caretakers without first building the SOP. So that's really step one. So planning well in advance, and then developing an SOP. That's actually, if you remember, that's one of the first things we did when you and I kind of became onboarded to the Christmas tree side of things.
Right.
My dad basically spent the year showing us every single step in the Christmas tree process. And I was filming a lot of that for the purposes of developing SOPs and also for video purposes, just in general, like
Right.
YouTube and stuff. But we got that down for the Christmas tree side of things. And then I'm sure that there's also a lot of like automation that we can do. I mean, there's a lot of things on the farm that I think are already automated, but that's something that can always be improved. Later on down the line, I can see us investing in things like automatic water feeders or feeders in general. That's definitely not a high priority, but that type of automation is something that could also help in this area too.
I mean, I think it depends on what our workforce looks like down the line. I personally would rather lean on people than technology, but that's a personal preference. And I know automation is absolutely helpful, and there's time for it, and there's a lot of positives that come with it.
Yeah, there's a time and place for each. I think they both have benefits.
Me personally, I would rather have connection with people, and instead of investing in automation, invest in a young person who wants to learn the trade and be able to invest in a person instead of technology. We're so far away from that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that does cost more money. So there's definitely a trade-off there. I mean, also there's a lot of different ways that you can go about that, I'm sure. Like doesn't Salatine do like some sort of apprenticeship program?
100% internship programs. Yeah, so team up with Sinclair or Ohio State or somewhere in one of the local colleges. What's the other? Wright State has a pretty good size ag program. But yeah, for the summertime, we could absolutely look at getting involved in summer internship programs and stuff like that. And I think that would be the way to go before we looked at automation. Yeah.
You don't like the idea of like an automatic waterer? Because that could not only help with personal time off, but it would help with daily chores.
What I don't like about it, other than you're stealing an opportunity from someone to learn that animal, those behaviors, and everything like that, you're also robbing yourself of the eyes on the animals, eyes on what's going on in that environment. So that's when we go out and water and feed and check for eggs and move and everything like that. That's the time that we look at the animals, make sure everything's looking all right, making sure nothing's wrong with any of the electric netting.
Right.
That's our check-in time. When we automate that, we take that opportunity away from ourselves to know our flock and our herd.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I see your point. I just don't think a waterer or like an automatic. I think having like an automatic waterer for the cattle in particular, and by that I just mean like some sort of toilet-like pump that will automatically refill.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't think that would like take away your time out there stewarding the cattle or the livestock. Like you're still gonna have to go out there and tend to them. I get what you're saying, because it might not. That is a trade-off. Like you might not witness certain things that you would have otherwise that might lead to problem solving in some areas.
So I see automation, I see a benefit for it as a fail-safe. If for whatever reason we're not able to make it out there to make sure that the water is filled up and everything like that, having a float valve system, something like that, that makes sense to me, to make sure that the water level is always there for them to have water.
Right.
But automatic feeders, the automatic closing doors for the chicken, the hen house and everything like that are, solar activated and everything. No, I don't want to get in that.
Yeah, I will admit that seems a little overkill, like having those super fancy coops.
It saves you time in your personal life, but none of us are in this to not be out there with the animals. And there are definitely times when I'm like, I got to move chickens tonight. I got to go put chickens away. And I just could really use about another 10 minutes just to chill.
Yeah.
I think The time out there with the animals is more valuable.
I say the word automation, it means a lot of different things. Like there's also...
I was going to ask you what specifically you meant.
There's also things like, even when it comes to social media, like marketing, you can pre-schedule
Right.
certain posts to go out while you're gone or when you don't have the time to do it.
I totally see a value with that.
Yeah.
As long as you're not automating replies and stuff like that, because then you lose the personal touch and personal aspect with the customer.
Yeah. I've been looking into ways to do that. Like you can do that with AI pretty easily.
Yeah.
You can even have like AI bots that will basically act as your customer service to answer questions that come in. And that's something I would never have interest in doing that, because my work actually just started implementing that. And I really want to know like what kind of questions people have. Like
Right.
when I get a personal email or some sort of outreach from a customer, that's super valuable. I don't want to outsource that in any way.
Absolutely not. I don't want to outsource. I want to maintain as much control of our operation as we can.
That being said, like, I don't know, it is nice to have that switch that you can flip on in a scenario where, let's say I wanted to go take a trip to Tokyo or something for a week, and then I don't have the time during that week to answer emails, just be able to flip that switch. But, I don't know.
So, and that's in your case, it is harder for you to take leave in time to get away than it is for me or your dad or your mom.
You think so?
100%. I don't have the skill set to run any of the website stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't have the patience to be on a computer and do the things that you do on the computer that you do for the farm.
Yeah, there's not source of relief there. But that being said, I can also, like, all this stuff I could technically do from any computer anywhere.
Correct.
So there's that side of it, but who wants to be working when you're on a trip? Not that I never actually take vacation. I haven't taken a vacation since I moved here.
You should try a vacation. That's not true. You technically have. We went to the Chestnut Festival. That counts as a vacation.
That was work, though. And that was only one day.
Yeah, that was a one-day vacation.
Yeah, that was the closest I got
to West Virginia.
That was a cool festival. That's one of those videos I've never uploaded.
Yeah, you should get to that.
I mean, yeah, there's still time to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
You did, last winter, you took a trip.
Oh.
You went on a trip during our busiest day of the whole year.
That was not my fault. That was not my fault. I had words. They were ignored. But yeah, no, I went to Washington, and the benefit to me being gone on that specific day is we had the next man up mentality, and we had John.
Yeah.
And John filled in without hesitation and took charge of the processing room, and it was fine.
And they also help. I can't remember if it was Nicole or Megan that helped in the coffee hut that
I think
day.
It was Megan. I think Megan was with you the whole time, wasn't she?
I honestly don't remember. She was there one day at least. Yeah, I think she was there 2 days, or the 2 weekends. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So
I think we were planning on having Nicole in there, but she never made it in there. Speaking of which, so I think that's a time frame. Like, that's the other thing. You kind of have to plan this out and get your SOPs and all that stuff, but then you also have to recognize certain times throughout the year that will work and other times that are going to be much more tricky to do. And I think for us, the November, December timeframe, because we're a Christmas tree farm, is a lot more tricky. It's probably a no-go in many cases. The January, February timeframe is a lot more practical because that's our dead season.
Right.
Summertime is a mixed bag. I think there's more daily chores that need to happen, but there's probably more flexibility in terms of secondary help that can come in, things like that.
So it depends on when during the summer and spring.
For sure.
So planting season is not great.
That's another no-go is planting season.
Yeah.
For both chestnuts and Christmas trees.
And I would argue that planting season is more of a no-go
than the November, December.
Yeah.
I agree, yeah.
Because we have more overlap and people to help out.
Yeah.
During actual Christmas tree time.
That's true.
The biggest thing is having a support system, people in place who are willing to work together to ensure that you're able to do the things that you need to do, want to do, and everything like that. And we are very fortunate to have very supportive people in this family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's they've been doing the Christmas tree things for so long that people know that when it's November, December, the Thanksgiving, like they have a routine where I think my sister Nicole and her family, John, they all come during Thanksgiving. They help out during at least the first day of operation, the first day that we're open, and it's just kind of an annual thing.
Yeah.
It also helps since you're kind of like you do more of the operation side of things on the farm. You're the next in line. I think I'm after you just because I know a lot of the stuff. However, my schedule's a lot more limited because I have a full-time job outside of this.
Yeah.
And that's another thing you kind of have to take into consideration is if I were to take time off, not only do I have to work it out and plan for the farm, but I also have to plan for my work.
Right.
And that, like, I don't even want to think about it. It's so daunting to have to prepare. If I were to take a week off to prepare on 2 different fronts like that, and that in and of itself, like the week before, I'd have to work double time then I would just need a vacation from my vacation, and it's the whole thing. But it's an important footnote because 93% of farmers rely on outside income. So
working 2 jobs.
It applies to a lot of different people and a lot of different types of farms, even homesteads.
Right. But I mean, to some extent, the reason that we're drawn to this is because it is our place to go and relax, and it's like we don't necessarily need a vacation from it.
Right.
Like the reason that I went out to Washington, the reason that your dad's out at the lake is spend time with family. It's not an escape from work. It's not an escape from daily life type thing. It's going to see family.
Yeah, true. I still think that there is value. I feel like such a hypocrite when I say this because I'm like, again, I don't take PTO ever. And, but I do find like there is obviously value because even if you love it and you do it every single day, it becomes, a routine. And so of course it seems obvious, but there's value in like avoiding burnout and in escaping and like resetting your brain or getting inspiration from other towns or cities or countries that you might visit every once in a while. But so there's like a creativity renewal side of it that might help, but I think that's all pretty obvious too.
Yeah, and I think we stimulate that itch through like the Ohio Christmas Tree Association when we go to our winter and our summer meetings.
Oh yeah, that.
And when we go, like we're looking at getting involved with the Farm Bureau, which will take us to different farms and helps us create or scratch that itch of mixing it up and learning new things and getting a different perspective on things.
Yeah, you definitely get new perspectives there.
Right.
Yeah, so the question really isn't like whether or not a farmer deserves time off, but whether the operation is designed so that the farm still functions when
is it
without the owner or the operator present.
Right. Is it resilient enough for the farmer to be able to step away for 2-3 days and be okay?
Yeah. Because the farmer can take time off, but it's only to the degree that they have these systems built in place for.
Absolutely.
And many I'm sure don't.
Well, and you look at the farmer who farms conventionally and does soybean, corn, and everything like that. They're just not taking time off during planting and harvesting season. That's just a hard no-go for them.
That's an interesting point, though, because I do wonder, like, does being regenerative make it easier or harder to take time off? Because on one hand, like, it's kind of a mixture of both, I think, in some ways, because it's less specialized. You have less inputs from like machinery and chemicals that, when I say specialized, meaning you have to have certain operators to run those things. But you also, on the other hand, you have more livestock and daily chores and stewardness that you have to do. But I think those are easier for other people to fill in.
I don't. So no different than every time we look at a new livestock. So chicken, sheep, cattle, you're having to learn the specifics about that different livestock and that different management system for that different.
Oh yeah, but you don't need to know everything just to take care of a chicken for a couple of days. You just need a checklist of things to do.
Right, but if we're looking at, so when we get sheep and everything, or cattle, and you have some manure that's looking funky, that person doesn't necessarily know that based on that manure, we might have something that we actually need to assess now. So there's things that SOPs, your standard operating procedures, get way more detailed and way more specific and nuanced, where actually having someone who knows what they're looking at and not just throwing someone in there.
Yeah, no, I disagree with this. I think we're talking about two different things. So if you're like, these are just simple SOPs, like a checklist of things to do, some instructions for someone to just temporarily be the caretaker on a farm while the owner and operator are out for a couple of days. I don't think you need to get that far into the weeds with it. Like if your cow is experiencing a certain, I don't know, if they didn't eat as much on Tuesday than they did on Monday, you know, I think you can wait until you come back from vacation to kind of, I mean, you can make note of it, but I don't think they don't need to know that level of detail to run a farm temporarily just for a few days.
Yeah. If you have a cow that's
You
experiencing
think you need to
bloat,
hire like a cow expert
no,
to
I'm saying
manage
you
a
can't
farm?
just bring in my cousin from down in Kentucky who's never sat with a cow, who doesn't know symptoms of, like,
yeah,
saying they have to have some knowledge.
Like, okay, let's use Aubrey as an example. She's
Right.
someone who we rely on sometimes to take care of the animals and stuff. She doesn't know anything about the chickens in the same level of detail that we know about them. But she would be able to feed them and
Right.
stuff
Right.
temporarily.
Now, here's what I'm saying, I guess. If I were to bring in somebody new who was going to watch the farm while we were gone, I would have them come spend a minimum of a week out here helping me out with chores.
A week?
Yes. It's our livelihood. A lot can go wrong that
Yeah.
I wouldn't be willing to risk. I wouldn't be comfortable taking that risk.
Yeah, it would be better to spend that much time, but I think,
Right.
I don't know. I think you probably just walk through everything in one evening.
Oh. Not when with chickens, yes.
I mean, you're also always like one phone call away. So if things do go south, you can just call them up and call someone up. And
not if I'm in Arizona or in the middle of nowhere in Washington.
I mean, there's always that risk when you're gonna, take a vacation. I mean, even if you weren't a farmer and you just took a vacation, I mean, there's always a chance that your oven's gonna blow up.
Right, but yeah,
or your pilot light goes out.
Yeah, I think there's just
this just stresses me out too much if you go into that much detail. Sometimes you just gotta take a risk.
No, that's too big of a risk. Like with the Christmas trees,
I do.
Yeah.
I do want to. If you ever get like a conventional farmer on as like a guest, that's one thing I do want to ask them about. Like, how do they take time off? What's that look like for them?
Yeah. So here, another point here.
Okay.
We're gonna have a beef and dairy.
It will complicate things, yeah.
Right. So now you have to have somebody who knows how to milk, how to check for mastitis, how to check the udders in advance, how to check the milk in advance. Like, there's so many different things that the person watching the cattle needs.
Do they have to know all those checks
if we're gonna
milk a cow for like a day or two, though?
If we're gonna serve that milk to any living human, yes.
Well, okay, yeah. I wasn't thinking that we are having dairy cows to sell milk to consumers. I was thinking it would primarily be like beef or something and maybe one dairy cow for ourselves, but...
Well, I see the milk being used in the...
But it's true, like the bigger the operation, the more complicated it's going to be, for sure. And then at a certain point, yeah, you do need to hire like qualified people because you have regulations to oblige by.
So
now there's cat fur everywhere.
Yeah, and that's attractive, Tom.
So there was I sent you a link to a video that I saw online from RFK Jr. and he was talking about an executive order that he put out along with Brooke Rollins, the HHS.
Yep.
That whole shtick. But there is apparently a new executive order around regenerative farmers, and it's supposed to, according to them, do a lot of good for regenerative farming. And I watched the video. It's a short 5-minute clip. And I'm not speaking on behalf of all regenerative farmers when I'm giving my opinion on this. I'm only speaking for myself, of course.
Right.
But, you know, the video was 5 minutes long, but it somehow, they said almost nothing. And
Yeah.
they used a lot of really good buzzwords.
Yes,
to get you excited. But yeah, I'll give you the TLDR for those who haven't seen it, and I'll put a link in the description below if you want to check it out. But the TLDR is that they essentially announced two things. One is that they're launching an NIH grant program for science and research, and they say that the research will go to measuring and diagnosing and addressing cumulative chemical exposures and their effects on human health.
Right.
So that was one thing. The other thing was that they are dedicating $700 million to go to farmers to help the adoption of regenerative practices. And then I have some thoughts on each of those. Do you have anything you want to start out with?
So the 700 million, they've had 13,000-ish applicants, and that money's already spoken for, basically. Like, went pretty quick. Whether you talk the 5 principles, 6 principles of regenerative farming, the USDA outlines, I think it's 17 different points that they are looking at. And it's somehow more points and less strict. Like, there's more loopholes in how the government and the USDA define regenerative agriculture than how regenerative farmers define regenerative agriculture. I don't understand how that's possible, but it's just wild to me. And they fast and loose with the don't use synthetic fertilizers and chemicals and stuff like that. A reduction of chemicals. It is minimal tilling. There's just a lot of looseness around how they're defining what regenerative agriculture is, which is, and I'm probably going to jump the gun here. I am happy that the government sees that there is an issue with the way that farming is being done. I don't want the government involved.
Yeah.
At all.
And
I say that knowing perfectly well that we are also getting money from the government for our chestnut field and everything like that. I totally understand how that's hypocritical.
Yeah, on one hand, we're getting a very, very, very small amount.
Very small amount.
Because it fell into some sort of
specialty equip program.
Because specifically just for our chestnuts, I think, and then
pretty much, yeah. But either way,
it's paying for the gates, the fences that we're putting up around them.
Yeah, and
I don't think that equip program,
it doesn't pay for any of the livestock or anything like that.
And it doesn't have to do this $700 million investment is completely separate from that.
Completely different from that. But either way, I personally would like to see a world where the government doesn't give out subsidies. Like,
I do think it's funny that there was a line where they basically recognized the problems, like you just said, in farming today, and then their solution is to invest in new technologies,
right,
and to add more, basically just add more government involvement,
right, more oversight.
Yeah, so obviously that is just not the answer. The second part is not the answer. The first part, if you really understood and you took the time to understand what regenerative farming is, you would know that the answer doesn't need to be new technologies. The answer is already there. We have the answer. It's going back to the way things used to be. It's relying, you can use livestock and principles that we talk about on this channel all the time to lean on nature and the solutions that nature has built into its own systems to fix the problems that you're encountering, instead of putting Band-Aids on top of Band-Aids on top of Band-Aids that bankroll industries and other industries and industries.
Right. Well, and that's like they talk about more emphasis on precision agriculture, more emphasis on this, more emphasis. No. Just step away. Understand that we as humans do not control everything in this world. And sometimes the best thing we can do is step back, put a few things into place, and let nature take care of it.
Yeah.
Like,
The solution is much more simple
than they're making it out to be.
right.
And it's just,
But honestly, the other thing that bothers me there is specifically talking about the research program, the NIH grant program that's going to science and research. That money is going straight to corporations. I don't have anything to back this up, but you know how the government works, and you know that when they say that they're introducing grant programs for science and research, that money is going straight to corporations. That money is going to fund research that will never move the needle on anything. You're never going to hear about it. It's only going to make people in suits richer, and they're going to but they're going to use the results to make more money. And also, you don't need, like, what are we researching here? Like I said, we already have hundreds of years of pre-World War II industrialized farming to look back on and to know how to fix these things. We already know what works and what doesn't work.
So, and that, like, yes, very aggravated by that as well. And it's just, we already know a lot of farmers and a lot of people, just in general, like the amount of new cases of cancer and younger people getting cancer, like, that's rampant in society right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why we're using equip USDA dollars and funds and everything to research. I guess it's because we've decided that it's because our food is jacked. So we're going to use our food money to bankroll the research that says what we already know.
Or to rebrand something and sell it to us in a different way, even though it's going to either cause another problem that we'll face 10 years from now or something. I don't know. But
I mean,
it's not actually going to solve anything.
Get to know your local farmer.
Yeah.
Go out to the farm, see how they practice farming, ask them what kind of chemicals they use, if any, what practices they use. Have a conversation, get to know them. That is how we fix this problem. It's not more government intervention. It's not more tax dollars being thrown into the wind and hoping it sticks to something somewhere.
Exactly. And what I was really hoping to hear from this type of thing is deregulation, removal of restrictions that are currently preventing farmers from being able to actually sell food to consumers. That's what we need more of. Instead, they kind of do the opposite. But
right.
I heard Salatine give this example where if we were to take what we grow on our land and we were to make a chicken pot pie and we were to sell that chicken pot pie to our neighbor, we would be criminals because that's illegal.
That is illegal.
In some cases, you can't even sell poultry that you raise on your land unless you go through a large-scale slaughterhouse, which removes, first of all, it removes any chance of profitability for us because most of that money is now going to the middleman.
Yeah, I forget what percentage of the food dollar goes to...
also compromise that poultry by the time it reaches the consumer.
Yeah, I forget what percentage of the food dollar goes to the actual farmer, but it's like 10 cents on the dollar or less.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Depending on what market or industry within farming we are talking about. Yeah. But it's like 10 cents on the food dollar.
I've also been hearing about stories where this is happening all over the country where like certain pockets of the Amish community are being displaced because of like data centers that are coming in, and they're trying to like encroach or build the data centers like right next to these Amish farms.
Really?
And it's going to, I don't know, I mean, I'm assuming that's going to probably be not good for business for them or their production. But I would have also liked to, if that is true, I would like to see some sort of solution to that. I mean, at the very least, I think that's, if true, is a huge problem for the country in the future. But
data centers are just...
Yeah, the data centers are like a whole other can of worms, but
yeah,
it is going hand in hand with farmland and agriculture.
Well, yeah.
So we might have to
Well, and
deal with it
resources.
at some point. It's like they want to ignore what already works, and they want to ignore the principles of regenerative farming instead of creating.
The other part of that Celestine story
Oh, yeah.
is you could bake that pie. You can't sell it to your neighbor, but you can walk it over there and gift it to them, and that's not illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it's...
Which blows my mind. If we were to like time travel to like the 1800s or something, and we were to tell them, like walk to a random farm in the 1800s and be like, did you know in the future, if you sold me that chicken over there, you would be in big trouble with the government? Because like back then, the federal government wasn't even like a topic of conversation, because the federal government was so small that it didn't encroach on everything you do every single day of your life.
Well, yeah.
And so like it wasn't like a thing that you would even have to consider. But nowadays, it's like every single thing you do is
controlled by the government.
This
is off topic. I was thinking about this the other day as I was driving down the driveway here, and I hadn't put my seatbelt on yet. And it was ding, 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 all the way down the driveway. And I don't understand why seatbelts are something that they can ticket us for.
Yeah.
Because all I'm doing is taking my life into my hands.
Yeah.
And that's a personal choice, and that's a freedom of choice. I don't understand how you can ticket me.
I've thought about that
for
too.
something that doesn't... Like, if I get into a car accident, the person who's in the other car isn't going to be more injured because I'm not wearing my seatbelt.
Yeah, you should have the freedom to make stupid decisions.
To be an idiot. Just like you should have the freedom to go down to a farm and say, hey, I want to buy one of your chickens. And if you don't check to see if they have good practices and you don't do your background checks and understand what you're doing...
That's the other thing. When you're time traveling back to the 1800s and you sold that chicken, not only are you, how surprised would they be if you told them that when you sell me that chicken, Uncle Sam's gonna take money from that transaction. They're also gonna take more money from you at the end of the year in April.
Right.
Because you just made income, and that's considered income, and they're gonna take like half of what you just made. In addition to this sales tax that I guess I'm the one paying for, but yeah.
I mean,
we can roll right into the last thing I want to talk about, which is how we have, as a society, have lost our connection to food. And that's why I was starting to think about, like, if I could time travel to the 1800s and explain all these things to the people there, how would they react? And then, because like over the past couple hundred years, I just feel like we've lost our connection to food in a lot of different ways, and no one knows what to do if you were given that chicken. In most cases, you wouldn't know what to do with it.
So when you say lost connection to food, what do you mean specifically?
I mean that there was a time when, Salatine gives this example as well, where if you were to give someone a whole chicken, it would be considered a really good gift.
Right.
But now if you were to give anyone a chicken, they would be annoyed by it. Or first of all, they wouldn't know what to do with it, but then they would probably get annoyed because they have to do a lot of like preparing. They have to figure out it's going to take up storage space in their freezer.
Right.
They have to prepare it. They have to cook it. There's a lot of work involved. And now, like, why would they do that when they could just
Grubhub,
go? Baby. That's a better example. I was going to say go to the store
and buy 6 pounds of chicken breast. And
buy like individual slices of chicken. But yeah, you're right. You can just DoorDash it right to your front door.
Yeah, baby.
Or give
me some KFC, that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, everything's just built around convenience now, and we've lost our connection to food.
Right. We are definitely a society of convenience, and I'd say there are pockets of the community and the societies that are getting back to understanding that our food sources and what we ingest is actually important, and how we raise it, and the welfare of everything is very, very important. I would also say that no one is going to be like on top of it 100% of the time, and I'd say even when we have poultry, lamb, beef, and everything like that, there's still going to be times where I go down the road and I go to Taco Bell.
Oh yeah.
We're not perfect.
But at least you know where your food's coming from.
Yeah.
And you actually, at least you're aware and you're self-conscious about what food is. Because I think a lot of people don't even know, this is shocking to hear, but I think a lot of people don't even know what food is. Because when they think of food, they think of things like Twinkies or Fruit Loops or something like that, like things that you buy on the inner aisles of a grocery store, which isn't actually food.
Well, the whole notion that I've had, like some of the girls that my daughter brings over and we start talking about chickens and coming over and doing farm chores and, you know, meat birds and they, what? Meat? You eat chicken? I'm like, you eat chicken nuggets?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, sweetie,
Yeah.
your parents may hate me now, but
That really worries me because I don't know, maybe it's hard for me to, I'm so disconnected. I mean, you might know more than I do because you have a child. So maybe it's a generational thing. I don't know, but I feel like there's a whole generation that's up and coming that thinks of food primarily as a finished product, like a chicken nugget, something that's packaged, labeled, priced, delivered. And it's not the result of what happens when you bring in soil, weather, animals, labor, the whole biology cycle.
yeah.
You know, that's where, you know, the result of all that ends up being the food that you have a stronger connection with, but it's just lost on a whole generation, I feel like.
Yeah, and I'd say, I think there is an awareness, somewhat of an awareness being brought back, and but it's like I've seen it in some of my daughter's classroom stuff. But once again, off topic, it's not the school's job to educate necessarily where your food comes from. That is a parent's job to educate. And like, I get it. It's the school's job to educate you on biology and animal science and stuff like that.
I think it's their job to educate on taxes and like how to file your taxes.
I mean,
because they're the ones that are requiring it for you to do that. And yet they don't teach that at all.
I mean, there's a lot of useless things that we learn instead of very, very important things that
well, not that taxes are important, but like it is something
they are if you mess them up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I know, I agree. We've separated the cycle of life and death from our food. Like those are now like, we don't connect those two things. And I think that's really important too, because it makes, without that connection, I think it makes us morally confused because,
right.
And I'm seeing this a lot, not a lot, but occasionally on social media where like, if we don't know, we don't have to know where a food product came from and under what conditions it was produced. When the farmers, like we, the farmers, are culling animals for meat, and then online culture will I don't know if I'm saying this right, but if we, the farmers, are culling animals for meat, I've found on social media that automatically puts us in an animal cruelty category. I said that really bad, but does that make sense? Should I attempt it again?
Do you want me to attempt it?
Yeah.
When we talk about animal slaughter and stuff like that online, it automatically puts us in the crosshairs of
being like cruel to animals.
Animal cruelty and everything like that.
Because if I upload, actually I have done this on TikTok and Instagram. I've uploaded, early on, I uploaded videos about chicken evisceration.
Right.
They were educational, I actually didn't show anything except maybe some defeathering.
Right. The drill defeatherer.
Right. But that got, I can't remember on which platform, but the video our whole account got banned and they removed the video. And ever since then, we haven't gotten any new followers on our account, which I don't think we would have gotten much. We don't do very well on social, right. But the fact that we have had 0 new followers since I posted that video is very suspicious.
2.5 years ago?
Right.
Right.
But yeah, that's my point is...
It's just social media, I think, just naturally villainizes
Yeah, there's censorship
anything.
from the platforms when it comes to this type of thing, but also there are people that will think poorly of your life decisions because you run a farm and stuff like that. Which is my point is that that's a sign that you're disconnected and you've lost your morals when it comes to food. You're just disconnected from the life and death cycle that happens, that I think is important for people to know about.
So one of our customers from the coffee hut, we were talking today about same kind of conversation, but how people who go out and protest slaughterhouses and the way that animals are killed and everything like that, how that's a huge issue. And I mean, for the most part, I feel like slaughterhouses aren't really the issue, and I feel like they're going after the wrong end of the stick here. Where they should be focused is CAFOs, your
Yeah.
confined animal livestock, like your confined feeding houses and stuff like that, where the animals they don't live a good life. Not a single day of their life is great.
Yeah, it's
But
horrible.
we're focused on the wrong end of the stick here. And
yeah, totally. Yeah, our goal is not to support the cruelty of the industrial chicken farming or whatever livestock farming.
So, but that being said,
and we allow these animals, these livestock, the chickens, we allow them to have the best possible life they can possibly have on our farm.
Right. So, but like the same keyboard warriors and everything who go out and will protest about, animal cruelty and everything like that, will go down to Chipotle and whatever. And they'll go get their chicken Chipotle wrap, whatever, from an animal that was raised in I cannot speak anymore, in a CAFO, and just had a crap life. Instead of going down, getting to know your farmer, getting to know someone in your local area who raises animals and has a sense of pride in what they do and a relationship with the animals and the land that they're raising stuff on. That's just the biggest thing. The more we can get back to working with nature instead of against nature and putting more in than we're taking out, the more we can do that and the better we can get at that, I think the better off we are as a society. And that's...
Yeah, for sure.
That's the overreaching message here is...
Yeah, and like you said, the way we do that is not just hosting visitors when we can, but like, I think the fact that we sell direct to consumer is a big part of how we are trying to get people to reconnect with their food, because we don't have to do that. We could tap into a co-op of some kind. And
Absolutely.
That's one thing I like about doing direct to consumer, because it cuts out the middleman. It allows us to have that direct connection with people and get their direct feedback.
The
Not
coffee
that
hut...
specialization, sorry to cut you off. Sorry,
No.
Not that specialization is inherently bad, but not everyone obviously needs to be a farmer or anything like that for a society to function. It's just, I think there needs to be a connection and an awareness and an understanding of where their food comes from in order for a society to be healthy.
I agree. Yeah. Understanding the practices, what goes into your food and what is ultimately going to make up what goes into your body is essential. The coffee hut, there's 100% days where I'm like, oh, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. But man, there's so many days where we just have great conversations with people who are just super happy about what we're doing here and very enthusiastic about what's coming down the pipeline. And just, we had a lady 2 days ago stop by, super bummed that we didn't have any eggs available. She swung by, but she was telling me about how she had niece and nephew or something along those family members come in who live in the city, and they made some eggs for them for breakfast, and they took one bite of the eggs and they said, "You guys didn't get this from a supermarket, did you?" "No, it's from Advent Fresh Market right down the road here." And she said they ate about 2.5 dozen eggs that morning.
That
which is just so, and it's things like that. My daughter was there, and there's so many times where I'm like, "Come on, let's go do chickens," and it's just pulling teeth and everything. So after that lady told us that story, I was like, hey, how'd that make you feel? She's like, it kind of matters what we do. And I was like, kind of matters what we do. You're right.
Yeah.
Like just the aha moments that click when you're actually meeting with the customers and seeing that what we do matters. It's very valuable.
I get frustrated when I have those conversations and they clearly want more, but we're always sold out of eggs, and like oftentimes we can't supply them with what they want. Even our chestnuts, like it pains me every time I have to say that we'll have chestnuts in like 5 years.
Right.
And it's not something like a lot of people want the chestnuts now, and unfortunately we got to wait a little bit and not jump the gun, but it's painful sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know if I've never had a negative response from it. Like
I haven't either.
Every customer that has come up and said something about chestnuts, chicken, egg, whatever, has always been very understanding and very, very supportive.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very humbling.
Yeah. If anything, I don't know if it's a FOMO but they sometimes get even more excited,
right?
And just eager to wait for it, I guess.
As we started this video talking about going on vacations and stuff like that, you realize every year is just busier and busier from here on out.
I know.
Like this is as chill as it's gonna get, man.
If things go right, yeah.
I mean, even you look at the next few weeks between the coffee hut, meat birds, gearing up for Christmas tree sales already.
I know, that's going to happen sooner than later.
Right, we have reservation system opening here in a month and a half, something like that.
And then we've been talking about, I don't know when this would happen, it still wouldn't happen for a while, but we've been talking about ways to incorporate sheep into the Christmas tree fields, which would also further complicate things a little bit. Not in an unmanageable way or of any kind, but
just another opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
And experiment and
another piece to the life cycle puzzle.
The ever-evolving puzzle here at Advent Fresh Market. I'm excited for it. Like, granted, that's just more work for me. That's another daily chore.
It's fun though.
It is fun.
What are some things you've done this past week on the farm?
On the farm this week, let's see. I should really write these things down. So your dad took off on Wednesday. He did a lot of mowing, weed eating around the fence line, stuff like that. I did some weed eating around field 7, cleaned that up. A little bit of cleanup from the storm. Did you have like crazy winds for like 45 minutes the other day?
I was here during that storm. I think we were moving chickens. That was the Monday, right?
Oh.
When I got home, I went in my backyard and there was a massive branch right over the bald spot in my backyard where my maple tree used to be. Isolated from any tree. Like it's just a open yard of grass.
Right.
And for some reason there's a giant branch where I used to have my maple tree. And I'm trying to figure out which tree it came from. I don't know where it came from. But yeah, I had some debris that I had to take care of. What else did you do this week?
Watered chestnut trees.
Didn't you order the chickens?
Ordered chickens.
The meat birds?
Yeah, and unfortunately only got 23, so we had to pay more per bird, and that is what it is.
Did you end up calling them about that?
Yeah, that.
Nothing?
Yeah.
I didn't think so.
It was the conversation we expected to have. It is what it is. We ended up paying ridiculous, like $35, $36 for 23 birds, more than we would have if we would have bought 25.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if I said that in a actual digestible
honestly, the thing that
way.
worries me more than that is that they're sold out at all. So we're gonna have to take that into consideration whenever we pre set up these orders for different batches in advance. Because that means if we were to do like 200, if we were to pre-sell 200 meat birds for like a November or something, using this as an example.
Right.
And then it comes time to order them and they only have 23 in stock, we're going to be in trouble.
So I think that's just going to be down to how we approach that in the future.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure that out.
I mean, ideally, what we are going to do next year is sit down in January, come up with a schedule that works for us, get all of our dates in order, and then just call them or get on the computer and order everything up front. And that way, it's all of our orders are set 6 months before we even do our last batch.
Mm.
That way, that variable is no longer something we have to worry about. Rearranged and did a nice deep clean on the garage to get it set up and ready for processing birds.
Which is was that next weekend?
That is a week from tomorrow, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next weekend. That'll be fun. That's also the same day that we have the Inglewood Art Festival.
Inglewood Art Festival.
For the coffee hut.
Yeah. It's also day after my birthday.
Mm.
Yeah. That's what Reagan was like, what are we doing for your birthday? I'm like, killing things. Like, we're going to have chicken, babe.
Is that all you did? All the big things?
Well, Coffee Hut has been my life, it feels like.
Yeah.
I mean...
Did you go till 2 today?
Yeah. I'm 6 hours in the Coffee Hut by myself. Which is super fun with no bathroom breaks.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
Yeah.
All right, well, if you made it this far, go ahead and hit subscribe, like the video. That really helps us out. We're also available on Rumble, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts if you're into those platforms as well. The links are in the description below. Otherwise, we will see you guys in the next video.
I really look forward to doing these on Saturday mornings.